Imagine building the quickest machine in Formula One, only to watch it collect dust behind slower rivals race after race. This is McLaren's 2025 season in a nutshell. A masterclass in turning potential glory into consistent disappointment. The Japanese Grand Prix perfectly encapsulated their struggles. While Max Verstappen extracted every ounce of performance from Red Bull's clearly inferior package, McLaren somehow transformed their technical masterpiece into a strategic laughingstock. The weekend began with promise. Dominant practice sessions, crushing qualifying pace through Q1 and Q2, all pointing toward inevitable success. Then Q3 arrived, and like clockwork, their performance evaporated when it mattered most. Verstappen's pole lap was a work of art, while McLaren's engineers stared at their data in bewildered silence. The race proved even more frustrating. With two cars against Red Bull's single entry, the tactical possibilities were endless. Yet McLaren chose the most baffling approach, mirroring Max's strategy with both drivers as if scared to try anything creative. Lando Norris, despite showing weaker pace all weekend, was given priority over a clearly faster Oscar Piastri. The pit lane incident where Norris blamed Verstappen for his own mistake merely highlighted the growing desperation. While Max managed the race with clinical precision, McLaren's race engineers seemed determined to outdo Ferrari in the strategic blunder department. This pattern isn't new. Australia showed their raw speed, China revealed their strategic fragility, and Suzuka exposed their inability to adapt under pressure. They possess all the ingredients for success except the crucial ability to convert potential into result. In this analysis, we'll break down exactly how McLaren keeps finding new ways to lose with the best car. From their conservative strategy calls to their puzzling driver management, we'll examine why their championship challenge is unraveling. The harsh truth may be that speed means nothing without the wisdom to use it properly. A lesson McLaren is learning the hard way. From the very first laps in pre-season testing, their car was in a league of its own. While other teams struggled to find balance, McLaren's machine was fast right out of the box. No teething problems, no mysterious handling quirks, just pure unadulterated speed. When the championship proper began in Australia, they didn't just meet expectations, they smashed them to pieces. Melbourne qualifying was a McLaren masterclass. Lando Norris took pole position with Oscar Piastri lining up right beside him in second. The race was even more impressive. For 47 laps, they were untouchable, trading fastest laps while the rest of the field could only watch. Then came the moment that hinted at cracks in their armor. Both drivers made uncharacteristic mistakes, running wide at the same corner within laps of each other. Piastri's error was more costly, dropping him out of the points briefly before he recovered. Norris held on to take victory, but the question lingered: was this a one-off or a sign of things to come? China told a more complicated story. Practice sessions showed McLaren's pace advantage remained intact, but when it came to the sprint weekend format, something wasn't quite right. Piastri managed a strong second place in the sprint, while Norris struggled to 8th. The main race saw them recover somewhat, with both cars finishing on the podium, but the effortless dominance of Australia was missing. There were whispers that perhaps McLaren's advantage wasn't as overwhelming as first thought. Then came Suzuka, and with it, McLaren's most confusing weekend yet. Friday practice was a repeat of their earlier dominance. Fastest in FP1 with Norris, fastest in FP2 with Piastri, then back to Norris in FP3. The car looked planted through Suzuka's demanding high-speed corners. Qualifying started in the same vein. Through Q1 and Q2, McLaren were in a class of their own, Norris topping both sessions with Piastri close behind. Everything pointed to another crushing qualifying performance, a repeat of their China front row lockout. The team was already dreaming of extending their championship lead. Norris in particular was eager to pull further ahead of Verstappen in the standings. The stage was set for McLaren to stamp their authority on the season. What happened in Q3 at Suzuka will go down as one of those moments that reminds everyone why Max Verstappen is a 4-time world champion. McLaren walked into that final qualifying session looking invincible. Lando had been fastest all weekend. Oscar was right there with him, and the pole position seemed like a formality. Then, in the dying seconds of Q3, just when Lando thought he had secured pole, Max did the unthinkable, 12 thousandths of a second. That's all it took. The garage reaction said it all. McLaren's engineers froze. Red Bull erupted. Max, in what might be the fourth fastest car on the grid, had just stolen pole from under McLaren's nose, and he was genuinely happy about it. Not just because it was pole, but because he knew exactly what it meant. Race day arrived with an extra twist: overnight rain. Now, if there's one thing we know, it's that Max in mixed conditions is basically unbeatable. At lights out, Max played Lando perfectly. He positioned his car to take the inside line into turn 1, knowing that if he could get there first, the race was his to control. And that's exactly what happened. From that moment on, Max was in cruise control. But McLaren, where do we even start? First, they made the baffling decision to pit Oscar early, not to attack Max, but to cover off George Russell in P5. Why? George wasn't even a threat to their race. Oscar had already cleared him easily. Instead of using both cars to pressure Max, they effectively sacrificed one to defend against a non-issue. Then came the real disaster, pitting Lando right with Max. In a race where tire degradation was minimal and rear tire temperature was the limiting factor, something that actually suits Lando's driving style, they chose to mirror Max's strategy rather than try something different. And when Lando left the pits, he drove himself onto the grass while trying to pass Max, then complained that Max pushed him wide. Except he didn't. The replay showed Lando was behind, Max didn't move, and Suzuka's pit exit is naturally narrow. The FIA agreed, no investigation needed. From there, the race was over. Lando didn't have the pace to catch Max, and McLaren never even considered letting Oscar, who was clearly faster, pass to try. It's like they've forgotten they have two cars. This isn't just about favoring Lando anymore. Oscar is right there in the championship fight too. But instead of using both drivers strategically, they defaulted to Ferrari-level decision-making. The worst part? They had the perfect opportunity to force Max into a no-win situation. If they had split strategies, one car covering Max, the other trying an overcut, they could have pressured him into a mistake. Max can't defend against two cars at once. But no, McLaren played it safe and saved us a win championship. At the end of the day, Max took his 64th career win in a car that by all accounts shouldn't have been on pole, let alone won the race. Meanwhile, Lando, in the fastest car on the grid, couldn't make it happen. That's the difference between a great driver and a champion, and right now McLaren isn't just losing races, they're losing the plot. Alright, let's be real. Losing a 1 vs 2 against Max Verstappen in the 4th fastest car has got a sting for McLaren. Like, this is Max is inevitable levels of pain. They had the fastest car in Japan, 2 cars ahead, the strategy lined up, and still Max pulled the Verstappen pin. It's the F1 version of getting checkmated by someone playing blindfolded. McLaren didn't just lose the race, they lost momentum and maybe even a little bit of belief. This kind of defeat isn't just a one-race hit either. It lingers. It's the type of loss that replays in your head at 2 a.m. like a bad strategy call from Ferrari. And now, with Red Bull suddenly upgrading their second seat with a fired-up Yuki Tsunoda, that's salt in the papaya wounds. Yuki just watched Max take on 2 orange missiles and still win, and now he's strapping into the RB21 ready to back Max up in the constructors fight. That could be a problem. A big one. Now looking forward, Bahrain is coming up fast, and this is where things get spicy. Every team's tested here, every rookie knows the layout. It's the land of tire degradation and DRS drag races, and if Red Bull has any kind of fix for their balance issues, they're going to be a serious threat again. Max already won in a weaker car, so imagine if they unlock 10% more performance here. We're looking at a possible Red Bull resurgence just when McLaren thought they were safe, and Ferrari? Don't count them out. They've been lurking just behind. They could sneak into the fight. Mercedes? They're still building IKEA furniture while everyone else is racing. So yeah, Japan may have ended in heartbreak for McLaren, but Bahrain? That's a fresh battlefield. New race, new dynamics, new pressure. The momentum has clearly shifted. McLaren needs to strike back or risk letting Red Bull with a Max Yuki combo. Now, waltz back into championship contention, and if that happens, it's going to be meme city all over again. Max winning races in a tractor, Yuki going full anime protagonist, and McLaren wondering how it all slipped away.